Today we're perfecting our teeter motion to best help tell the story of our brick's inevitable demise. After all, even though it's just an exercise, we can still add in a slice of personality. As such, since I want to get the brick fall just right, I'm going to wait until my next video where I'll get into the nitty-gritty sciencey stuff of the impact itself. Speaking of personality, I'm trying something new with this video. Like my prelude, I've added in little arrows and boxes to highlight relevant info as I talk. Let me know in the comments if you find this helpful, and if not, what I might do instead. With that, let's get all wiggle on! Now the only difference between this segment and the one before it is that this segment timing chart, it'll be just and in covering this distance, and then the one after it will be just and out. I think each of these is only going to have to be 10. The first and last frame of each segment is shared between them, so that sharing kind of makes it like they all average out to 11. So because the first and last frame is shared amongst all of them, my timing chart for each individually is going to show 11 slices, but the actual frame segment is only going to be 10 long, so let's see how that works out. Alright, so we start on 11, and we're going to end on 21. And because I've run out of room, I do a smaller chart above it. As this one carries me over to here. And now we doodle. Oh, do not want that to be green. As nice as it would be to get a little bit of color in this. At some point I will. But learning to color is a whole different set of lessons. I can't even draw a face. I mean, look at how bulbous this gets. That just gets in the way. It's going to make it that much harder to do the next frame. Oh, you know, maybe I can go and customize this brush a little bit, make my life a bit easier. Change my maximum size. Oh, there we go. What does that look like if I zoom out? Still looks like a line. Let me bump it up to 3, just to make the thickness a little bit consistent. I like to pull when I'm drawing. I could try and draw up with a push, but it just feels weird for me. Now when things get really close here and I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, really the best that I can do is to just follow this line between the red and the green and just hope that it gives me what I'm looking for. If I was getting paid to do this, I'd go back, figure out how to make nice keyframes to get it right, but I'm just learning right now. Just erase the end and no one knows the difference, except for everybody. Shh, our little secret. And then when I'm in this position where I have to figure out which green and red line to follow, I look at it logically. I use that word a lot. I look at it and I try to figure out, okay, well if the red is on the bottom here, and this all looks nice and crisp, I should probably follow the green and red where the red is on the top, because if this is my halfway point, red on the bottom, green on the top, red on the top, green on the bottom. And thus I follow the meetup where the red's on the top. Yeah, see here the red should be on this side, not this side, but it is on this side. Blah. Keyframes are all about setting yourself up for success, and I did not do that very well. This is a nice lesson in how things build up to one another. So had I gone with my original plan of making myself a custom brush that was a lot thinner than this, I would have made keyframes that are a lot thinner, which means it would have been a lot easier to keep track of these pivot points and whether or not and which side the red and the green are on as the brick swishes back and forth. But because my keyframes have a really thick brush and my in-betweens have a thin brush, now look, my in-betweens are inside of my keyframes. And it just looks weird. Oh, to heck with it. I'ma just keep drawing me some rectangles. And definitely don't forget to swish back and forth amongst your frames to remind yourself of the direction that you're working with. That's why we have the roll, so we can roll to see the direction we're working with. Also, working backwards is a little confusing. I'm going to be entirely honest about that. That's part of why I keep losing track of myself. Now the question becomes, do I really feel the need to draw these extra frames if the brick isn't going to move at all? I can save myself some time. those frames are not going to be necessary. So this is 6 extra frames that I drew. So we'll start with drawing that many on the other side. Uh-oh! I put my timing chart on the wrong layer again. Great, fix that. 21 is going to be the first frame, my next segment, and that means that I should be ending on 31. I swear to God. Thank you. And again, these all may end up getting ignored the same way that these were on the other side, but we'll find out. Now things are starting to get tighter with those big ass keyframes. Oh, this is so inconvenient. I might just make new keyframes. So one thing that I realized that I could do is instead of redrawing my keyframes, I could just erase away at them to make them thinner. Alright, thinner, more manageable keyframes. Great. So much better. Ah! That's not the button I want to push. Alright, so I'm scrolling back and forth here, and if I have this as frame 21, I go 6 frames to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it's the same frame. So I'm going to do that on the other side. So these will be the last 2 frames that I draw. And I'll see what it looks like if this just holds position. Now I need to do my corner arcs, so that way I can resize this horizontal keyframe to fit better. I don't think this brick is tall enough. It does need to be a little bit taller and a little bit wider. Crap, I think that's way too tall. Brr. Bring that down a bit. So now this arc goes to here. This one goes to here. This one right meow. And this one ends up kind of looking like that. I think it's a little funky monkey right here. But I need to keep it because if I change it, then it messes with all the frames that I've already worked on. I already knew that that left corner was going to be a problem, and we actually, now I remember we wanted to keep that so that way we could have a side-by-side comparison. So I'm just going to hold it. It's going to feel weird the whole way through, but I think it'll be okay in the grand scheme of things because it'll go by pretty quickly. Damn it! I'm gonna have to deactivate that button. I will bring an end to your tyranny. Which button is that, by the way? Nope. 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 No, no, nope. That's a cool button. That's not the problem, child. I can tell up here that I'm getting this curvature. It can look like a Shinto shrine thing going on here. You know, it's not a straight line. I really should go and change that. But I'm also wondering whether or not that's going to get lost in translation as well. I know that in-betweens, you know, people will stomp on an in-between in something, like an anime or a cartoon, and they'll be like, why does this in-between look so weird? It's because it's an in-between, right? It's just supposed to get you from one point to another. And yeah, this curvature is a little weird, but if somebody's just watching this for the first time, there's a chance they might not even notice it. There's a chance they will, and we'll find that out, and I'd rather learn that now while I'm aware that there's a possibility than to go and change it and deny myself the opportunity to, you know, it might not end up being worth my time to go and have changed that. You know, when I'm sitting here and I'm thinking back on a lot of the shows that I watch that I really appreciate, if you really take the time to look, they only ever have something move when it really needs to. So I've got these sections down here where it's just the same frame continuing, and I'm actually probably going to have, like, if this is 4 frames, it's going to be 8 frames of this box not moving. I don't think it's going to need to. It doesn't serve the animation by having me draw that box in there 8 times, even though it's in the same spot. It doesn't serve the animation or make it better, and because diminishing returns, and it just wastes my time. And it's time that I can be better spent going and doing my copy pasting or other frames. There's a snap here. So if you look, 21's my halfway point. There's a noticeable difference here. And here's where that difference comes from. How I start. If I go back to this keyframe, drag my onion skins out. Each of these keyframes, look at how big this difference is. This length and this length. This keyframe really should be here. Well, not here, where it's equal between the two. So now I'm going to make some changes. I don't have to redraw the frames, I just have to twist them a little bit. And that should avoid this snap that we'll see if I go and play this back. Snap. Oh, nope, snap, snap, right here. Otherwise, it's starting to look pretty good. Let's go fix that. I'm just kind of eyeballing this. I don't know, it's a really awkward judgment call. I'd really rather not have to be doing it, but I set myself up for this. Better than redrawing them. What the hell is going on over here? How in the heck did that happen? What? Yeah, these are all fine. Somehow in this next frame, the brick doesn't rotate, it just extends out. I'm scratching my head here trying to figure out how I managed to mess that up. Wait, I think the keyframe's the problem here. Did that solve whatever the hell was going on? Oh, I gotta fix this down here too. Man, I am messing everything up on this one. Alright, that looks much better. Oh, that's terrible. Glorious. We can watch as the distance between the previous and next frame extends and then collapses. And that's true of every corner. That's what we want. This is the good one. This is the good keyframe. And look at how much time I'm wasting that I have to keep doing this over and over again. If I just copied the frame instead of the vectors within the frame, I wouldn't have to keep doing this. Let's look. Beautiful. Oh, you know what? This one needs some love over here. This needs to be extended. Alright, so we managed to fix all of that, which is great because now it's going to look beautiful when we finish. So how many more frames do I have to make here? Let's see, this is my 21. Oh, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. This is the last one. Great. Fantastic! Look at that! Alright, let's see what this bad boy comes out to. That's what I'm talking about. So now you can see what I was saying, how it quickly tilts to the right and then slowly turns to the left. Quick to the right, slow to the left. Quick to the right, slow to the left. And now, because it's at the full left and it's going to go all the way back to the full right, it's going to have that full 20, 22 frame ease in, ease out to the right. to the left, to the right, to the left, and then it falls over to the right. So now the nice part is that I can just copy and paste all of those frames in reverse to get my sweep back to the other side. And I can just copy and paste back and forth in order to fill this entire section. And I'm going to be copying the frames this time because not only is it easier, but we've also proven time and time again with the amount of times I've had to redo my keyframes that it is also optimal. So before I start copying and pasting, I need to isolate my keyframes. There are these really big segments here, and at the end of the day, they're only going to be one frame. Well, actually, they're going to be a little bit longer than one frame. But point is, I need to isolate them. So that way I know what to copy and paste into. So I have this frame here, which is 21, 31. Okay, so each one, 41, 51, 61, each of those is going... Okay, great, I already have those here. So each of those is going to be my keyframe. Some of those keyframes are going to be extended, going to be about 8-9 frames long. Some of those keyframes are going to be singular. Let's see if we can't get a good feeling for that. On 11, the keyframe has itself plus 1, 2, 3 on either side. So if I have my keyframe at 31, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Means from this to this, I won't need, because then this is going to be easing into that half. And what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great! Now you just got to follow that pattern all the way through. Ah! And now, this is how I messed myself up before! So this one, which is this slight angle here, actually should be here. It's a remnant from this frame when it got cut. I need to be thinking ahead and delete this and replace these three with the keyframe it's going to slosh into. And here's where my brick falls. So let's think ahead a little bit just to make sure we get that right. So we have right 1, left 1, right 2, left 2, right 3. Okay, so from left 2, and it starts slowly making its way into right 3. At frame 94 is when it will begin sliding off the shelf. Fantastic. All right, now I have that organized, so now I can just start doing my copy and pasting. All right, what is going on here? Ooh, I would not have caught this, but apparently this frame duplicated somehow. I'm gonna have to go and manually fix that. All right, what ended up going wrong here? Who's the problem child? This midpoint is nice. This frame is the problem. Fantastic. Back to copy and pasting. Ah! Stay! Down, boy. I don't like this one needs a little bit of love. That's the nice part. I don't have to redraw everything. I can just go back with a fresh perspective and fix any of the frames I messed up before. So that way every time I go and look over it again, it gets a little better. Alright, we have a full sachet. Let's see how it looks. Oh, that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted that swing back and forth. It feels a little drastic though, I must admit. I think what I'll do is when I'm done, there's too many frames within the keyframe segments when it hits the extreme on the right and the left. I'm gonna shorten that a bit. So right now it's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll do that at the end. I've got this little math thing in my head with the 51s and the 61s that's helping me keep track of all my copy pasting. But after I finish that, I'm gonna go back and use my fancy schmancy new keyboard shortcuts to reduce those keyframes on the extremes so that way it feels like it toggles a bit instead of, because right now it looks like it freezes. It doesn't look like it's slowing down and then picking up speed in the other direction. It freeze, 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 freeze. I don't want that. You know, maybe instead of copying them all individually, I could have just made the whole segment and then copied that whole segment. Small shortcuts that may end up being helpful in the future. Wonderful! Let's see how this final product came out. Oh, right. First I wanted to do a reduction. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know what? Let's watch it how it is. Each of my extremes is at 7 frames. Then we'll try it at 5. Then we'll try it at 3. Maybe, heck, we'll even try it at 1 and see what feels right. So on the topic of keyframes, I think I've just thought of something really cool. What I could have done was take this keyframe, copied it, rotated it, placed it in that position, and then copied it, rotated it, and pasted it in that position, and then done all of my in-betweening from there. Because each of my keyframes was drawn fresh by hand, you can actually see a slight deformation in the size and shape of the brick. Which in the grand scheme of things isn't that big of a deal, but it is a consistency error, and it's something that I should be held accountable for. Now, regarding the keyframes on the tilt, we have it at 7. Let's try and bringing down each one to 5. And that goes down by 1. Definitely closer. Try another. I like that. This is the 3. I think I'm going to go with the 3, but let's see what the 1 looks like just for the sake of argument. Oh, the 1's actually not that bad. Let's look at it from a distance. No, the 1 is exactly what I want. Because what I want to do, looking forward to the next part of this video, is that I want to have the brick linger as it's making its way finally off of the shelf before it falls. I want it to have that tilting wiggle and then that anticipation, brick falls. And with it wiggling back and forth this quickly, it's wiggling believably, without a doubt. And then because this fast tilting back and forth, it'll be much more impactful, it'll be much more suspenseful when that last final tilt to the right is so slow. Satisfying fall, please fall. So that's what I'm going to stick with. So like I said before, I want to take some time and do a bit of research on falling objects, especially falling brittle objects, and I need to spend a little bit more time understanding how a shatter works in animation, how you keep track of all the different pieces. You know, maybe I'll record a brick falling onto a hard surface. I think I've got a couple of them lying around because, you know, everybody just has bricks lying around, and maybe I'll use that as a reference. I'm going to go take some time and do my research. So with that, I look forward to seeing you all then. Ha-ha! 3 hours in, halfway done, feels good. Poke the bird to subscribe and stay tuned, and don't forget to send me your version of this exercise to crowgetslearned@gmail.com. Also, check out the Prime Thanatos, my secret to staying sane on editing days.